Hello, welcome to Three Crows Runes. My name is Jen. Let's do some rune readings. Today we are doing readings about finding your flow. So this is where your energy flow, maybe you've sort of lost track of where it is and where it's coming in from and where you need to look to access it. And so these are 4 cards from the Steampunk Tarot, and each of these is going to represent where you're going to look in order to find what you're looking for to reconnect with your flow. It's going to be in plain sight, but it's just sort of like an out of the way sort of where it's sort of become an out of the way place to where you tend to be. So feel into these cards. One or more of these will have clues of where you're going to look so that you can re-find your flow and then go with your flow again as far as energy flow and where you can allow yourself to. I'm going to be using the Willow runes as well. And this is all going to be about finding your flow again, and then being able to, the best things you can do to move with it and to connect with it and to continue that with the clear flow going on. So card number 1, card number 2, card number 3, card number 4. Feel into the cards. One or more of them will have a message for you, and I will put the timestamps in the description, and I will see you at the readings. Bye! Hello to all of you who chose card number 1 in the Find Your Flow readings. So let's turn this and see. So this is the Empress. So where you're going to look for your flow and where you're going to look for how to reconnect with your flow is going to have a lot to do with your sense of what abundance is, your sense of what, I'm going to say fertility, but fertility in terms of like creative fertility, like where things are just going to, you can even say like an organic kind of fertility where you're just full of ideas and full of creativity and full of nurturing and abundance, and it's just a very natural thing and almost like a luxuriant kind of thing. So feel and find where in your life that is, because that's where you're going to reconnect with your flow. The more you feel like this, the more you're going to be connected to that. So let's get some runes down. I'm going to put down the whole reading, and then it definitely wants to be this one. Get some runes down, and then we're going to read it, and we're going to see the message that it has about this for you. Doody-doody-doo. How are you? Everybody feeling good after all of the fun eclipse energy that we had the past couple weeks? Actually, for whenever you find this, because this is going to be a general reading for whenever you find it. So we could be miles away from any eclipses, and this reading will be relevant for you when you find it. So nice. So your central issue for the reading is Gabo, which is the rune of the gift. This has to do with, a gift is always an exchange. In ancient Norse, you would never give a gift without receiving a gift. So it was always an exchange. So this has to do with agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. It may also have to do with a one-on-one relationship, like one-on-one interpersonal interactions. Normally I would say that, but given that we have a very fertile figure on the card, it may be more that than it normally is, but it still has to do with agreements, decisions, plans, and goals. So there may be a one-on-one interaction involved. However, what I'm mostly seeing is, in order to connect with this, you're going to have to set aside some time. You're going to have to say, I'm going to make the time to connect with this, because otherwise, we're in the middle of the sand of life and you're just basically going from one thing to the next and just busy, busy, busy. And if you're not making time to connect with this, then you're not going to be able to connect with it. So it's important to make the time to connect with this kind of thing so that you can connect with your flow and reconnect with your flow and then get good with the energy. And that'll be well worth it. Leading up to this, we have Yira. This is the rune of the harvest and also time. I am seeing this as, because sometimes I will see this as you've just wrapped up a season of something, but really I'm sort of a little bit more leaning towards reading this in this particular instance as feeling like how much time has passed, how little time might be left, what do I have to show for it? Kind of thing, because that's sort of what it means when it's in the lower line, and it is leading up to this, and you are sort of seeking this, and this is how you're going to get to it. So I am sort of seeing it more as that. You may also just feel done with what you've just completed, and now you're looking to connect with something or reconnect with the flow that you miss. So that's pretty much what led up to this point where you're like, okay, now I have to make sure that I'm setting aside time for this. Like, obviously we want things to be spontaneous, but sometimes that's just not happening. Sometimes you need to set a date. Like, sometimes you need to make a plan and treat it as an appointment in order to reconnect with the things that are really, really important. So it's worth it. So that's basically where you're at now. What is going to help? Look inward. Find your deep inner heart. The fact that your flow isn't flowing is a huge drive towards this. This is Laguz. It's the rune of the water. It is literally the flow. It's also emotion, intuition, and heart. It is reversed on the upper line. So I'm going to read this a few ways. First of all, it's reversed. It's flow. So the flow hasn't been flowing. This is why you want to make this time to remake this connection with your flow. And what drives you is the fact that you miss it. It also reversed has to do with basically connecting with deep inner heart, like basically find your heart, you'll find the flow. Here's the heart, here's the flow. So when you reach inward and seek your heart and what your heart is at, and that will help you reconnect with the flow, that's going to get the flow flowing. The other thing I'm going to read this as is its emotion. So we want to basically, it's going to be, I'm trying to think how to explain this. The emotional component is, let me just put another rune down and see if that helps me explain this, because I know what I know what I want to say, but I want words for it. So, so you're basically making sure that you're hoping that this will help. Well, this will actually support you with this. We have algaes, which is the rune of protection and support. It's as a negative emotion thing. It could be like you want to stay on top of that. So what's going to help you connect with the flow is the fact that you're going to want to support any emotions that bubble up once the flow starts, and that you will be able to do that. You are comfortable and confident enough to do that with this sense of, and you also have a good setting around you. This is going to help you find that good setting and help you feel supported if you give yourself the support, so that when the flow starts to bubble up again, and you get some emotions that maybe you're not super comfortable with, you're able to actually sit with them and sort of let those incorporate and let those flow by as the weather they are. What isn't going to help is we have Fehu reversed. Fehu is the rune of wealth and worth. You may feel either that you are not worth taking the time to do this for, or that connecting with this isn't worth losing the momentum of your outward day-to-day. And that's really going to put a damper on it, because you really do need to connect with this. This is what deepens your life. What also doesn't help is you're worried about being unhappy. And certainly once the flow starts, you're going to get stuff bubbling up. You're going to get some emotions that you may need to deal with. Now, you can support yourself through that at the very least, or turn to other people who can help to support you with that. It's like there was one years many years ago, I had worked a time at a very difficult job that sort of I had to turn my soul off in order to get through it. And the first week after I left that job, I was like, my emotions started to come back, and like I would be watching TV and a commercial would come on and I would cry at the commercial. Like, it would get me emotional. So it's like when emotions start to bubble back up, and you're not used to it because you've had to turn that off to survive, it's tricky. And so you are worried about, first of all, you're saying, okay, it's not worth it to turn the emotions and the flow back on. And I shouldn't think that I deserve this. It's like, okay, first of all, you do, but what's behind that? It's the worries about unhappiness, and it's worries about the negative emotions bubbling up. But this is shown here. So first of all, the fact that it's not flowing is a problem, and that's going to drive you to reconnect with it because you miss it. Second of all, you're reaching deep to access your deep inner heart. And third, you're going to be on top of those emotions, like not like to squish them, but to support them as they come through. And that's what algaes is telling you here. So even if this is worrying you, you've got this covered. You're okay with that. And it's really even just the fact that it's not flowing that's going to drive you towards doing this, because you need it. So your next step, we have Avaz, which is the rune of the horse. This has to do with movement and spirit. As you move forward with the flow flowing again, let your spirit carry you. Whatever spirit is for you, let that carry you. It's definitely going, it's going to keep you moving forward, first of all, and also it's going to keep you moving forward in a way that is good. In the old days, you could get completely drunk and then throw yourself on the horse and the horse would take you home. It's like that, especially if the emotions are flowing and the emotions are getting all bubbly. Just throw yourself on the horse. Let the horse carry you. Let your spirit carry you, because this is going to keep you moving forward, and it will be able to support you as you move forward and the new flow that is flowing. What is going to help you? We have the blank runes. Stay open. Let the flow flow. See, that's the thing, is like you have to let it flow, because like anything in nature, like anything natural, like weather, it's not going to be the same. And if there's a lot of like built up clutter and gunk, you have to let that flow through, and then you'll get through to the better stuff. But you have to let the stuff flow through that got backed up. So just be open to whatever is coming through. Remember that you are able to support yourself through this, or you have people around you who can. What isn't going to help is you're impatient. You want the flow to flow clearly right away, and it doesn't, because you have a lot of backup bulked up in it, like a lot of like rusty bedsteads and broken bicycles that have to flow through. I'm thinking of that movie with the river spirit. But anyway, it's basically you just have to get all that junk out. And the only way to let that happen is to have that flow running. So be open to whatever's coming through, acknowledge it, but let it go. And that's going to help you the most. Your next step on the path line, we have Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health. It's reversed on the path line, which refers to inner strength. So actually, I'm going to read this a couple ways. It does refer to inner strength. Once the flow has flowed through all the broken bicycles and things, you're going to get to the point where you're going to remember how strong you are and this deep inherent inner strength. You're also going to be lifting up your hooves and not resisting anymore. You're not resisting the flow anymore. You're not digging in your hooves and stopping it. You're letting it happen. What's going to help you is just be still. Let it happen. We have Isa, which is the rune of ice. This has to do with standstill, but it's the stillness through which clarity comes. So be still in this flow. Let the clarity come through, and remember how strong you are, and don't resist the flow. Let the flow happen. What isn't going to help is you may be worried about things getting out of hand. We have Kaunaz, which is the rune of the torch or the fire. It has to do with expansion, something that starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. It's just worries about things because you are impatient for it to happen, and then you're like, what if it becomes overpowering? What if there's still more broken bicycles and mud that have to go through first? It's just sort of like worries about things getting out of hand. If that starts to be the case, just remember how you've come so far already. You tapped into it. It started to flow. You're letting your spirit carry you. You are open to what's going by, and now you are feeling stronger inwardly than you have in a long time, and you're not resisting the flow anymore. You're being still, and you're letting the clarity come through, because that's how it's going to be really, really good. So what your outcome is on this particular spread is Ingvaz. Ingvaz is the opposite of this, actually, which is quite neat. You can finally add this to this at this point. So Ingvaz is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Frey. Frey is the fertility god. This has to do with active creation. It's fertile. It's abundance. And it goes along with this because this is basically the exact opposite. Not opposite, but like it's the yang counterpart to this yin abundance. So you have let this come through, and now you can take the yin abundance that's happening and add to it your yang abundance and your yang creativity. This is yin creativity, this is yang creativity, and you can really start working with what's flowing. You can actively start working with what's flowing. It's very exciting. So that, card number 1, people, is your reading about Find the Flow. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 2 people. So let's start with the card, which is already here. Let's start by turning the card and seeing where you need to look to find your flow. So we have the Knight of Wands. You're going to connect with your will, what you want to manifest in the world. So you're going to sort of connect with the navel. We're gonna connect with your will. We're gonna basically look inside and say, hey, what are we absolutely just bursting to get out there and express in the world, just like almost as a quest. So there is something, and you probably already are thinking about the things that it might be, that you are just really, really excited to, like almost on fire, to go out and express in the world, to manifest in the world as far as with your will. So that's where you're going to look, and that's what's going to start freeing your flow. It's like as soon as you start taking steps towards doing this, you're going to feel that flow move with you, and it's really, really exciting. So let's get some runes down. I'm going to lay down the entire reading. Ooh, nice. Yes, exactly. Just precisely. Okay, let's see what this is. I'm going to lay down the whole reading, and then we're going to go from there. I'm seeing a lot of, I am mixing these. Sometimes we just get runs of same runes, different spots. Of course, that goes with any alphabet, really. It's like picking up a book and it's same letters, but at least they're in a different order. Keeps it from being boring. So, central issue for this reading, we have Ingvaz. Ingvaz is Ing's rune. Ing is another name for Frey, and Frey is a fertility god. I usually read this as active creation, which is exactly what this knight wants to get out and do. Very excited to do that. So your focus is on active creation, and just basically as soon as you sometimes you just have to sit to it. Sometimes you just have to start. Even if what comes out to begin with is just, you're not going to keep it. Nobody has to read your first draft but you. So just basically get started is the main thing. And then your flow is going to flow, and then you're going to start to get the stuff that you want. But you have to let the flow first, so that all the stuff you don't want gets because it's all stuffed up in there and clogged, and then you need to start it again, and then you're going to get a whole bunch of stuff coming out that is yucky, and that's fine. You got to go through the yucky stage, and then you get to the stuff that you want. So leading up to this, you are actually finally feeling very well supported. So you're in a situation where, okay, you do feel the support that you need around you, whether this is other people or whether this is just systems, things in place, a good place that you can feel protected. Just basically you're feeling supported enough to do this. So now you're going to start picking things up in your hands and saying, okay, we're going to start to express this. We're going to start to manifest this. What is going to help you is to stay open. I say this about creating often. You can have a very almost airtight plan, but if it's an airtight plan, sometimes that works, but oftentimes you want to be open for the surprises, because if it surprises you, then it's alive. This is really, really exciting, and maybe it'll throw all your plans out, but if that's the case, then let it, because you'll still have your original plan, and you can go back to it if the surprises don't work, but it's always more alive if you're letting it surprise you. So be open for surprises, have what you want to do. And that's actually exactly what this is saying, because down here, what isn't helping you is having this rigid plan. So it's definitely saying that the rigid plan in this case, clinging to it, it's good to have, definitely have a plan, but be open with it, because if you cling to the rigid plan, it's just basically not going to be as alive, and you might not be able to carry it as far. So you definitely want to have a reflection. It's look at Ingvaz here. It's almost like it's saying, okay, yes, have this foundation of the plan, but also make being open to surprises a plan as well. You've got 2 plans in place. One is the one that you've rigidly planned, and the other one is the plan that is incorporating the surprises that are going to come through, that are going to make it be alive and be very, very exciting. So definitely have a plan, but don't let it limit you in case something comes through that surprises you and is going to make it even better and more rich. what your next step is on the path line is we have Kaunas. Kaunas is the rune of the torch or the fire. Usually it's an expansion sort of thing where it starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. In this case on the path line it's reversed, which indicates a honing of focus. So I'm good at this myself. When you when you start something that's really exciting, you can get like really into it and you can start it and the start is exciting and it's really good and you're excited, and then you sort of get distracted. And then you don't finish it, if you're me, which doesn't always happen. I mean, I finish enough things, but in terms of just there's so often where you'll have a really exciting idea, but then you don't give it the focus that it needs, and then it sort of dissipates. So you definitely want to give this focus. Like once you get going with it, even if you have to sort of like gently, like in meditation where you lose focus, where you sort of not focus, but where you get distracted and you have to bring your focus back. That's sort of this thing that you're going to need to do with this. Like be gentle with yourself, but try to retain that focus on what you're doing. What is going to help is the fact that when you're doing it, you're getting these revelations, and it's really, 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 really exciting. Like every time you get a revelation, a surprise, because this started with the surprises as well. Like the surprises have become part of the plan. Every time when you're focused on this and you get one of these revelations, Partho, Lotbox, surprises and fate, revelations, it's really exciting. It's like this hit of like pleasure things in your brain. So it's like, woo. So it's basically really, really good. It feels really good. And so the more you do this and the more you chase this idea down and the more you work on this expression, the more you're going to get these little hits, and it's going to be really, really, really exciting. And so this is going to keep you focused on this. Is just remind yourself, if I'm not focused, then I'm not going to get these. So focus and keep going forward and get these. Again, if it's a first draft kind of situation, nobody has to see the first draft but you. So you can just like be messy, like cooking with abandon kind of thing. Just like be messy with it. Just let it all come in, and you can sort it out later. You know, you can't edit a blank page. So let it all come in, let all the surprises happen, and then just know that you'll work on this later, but right now you're just having the joy of it. What isn't going to help is you may feel, while you're really, really focusing, you may feel like you're sort of missing out on things, which you're not. You're focusing on a thing that's like really needing it. But also just this feeling of how much time has passed, how little time may be left, and what do I have to show for it? So, but you're putting it together. You know, you have to have this stage where it's a bit messy, but it's like you are hard focused on this, and you're getting wonderful surprises coming in that feel good. So that's definitely going to keep you doing it. Try not to let these worries drag you down. Your next step on the path line, we have Willow, which is the rune of the sun. You're going to be really energized by this. This is going to be a way not only to tap into your flow, but to tap into your source energy, which really is the same thing. This is the sun. It has to do with the source energy. You are really going to be connected with that. The more you do this, the more you will be. What is going to help you when you really notice that this has really affected your energy in a good way, like you feel like you have all the energy now, when you reach this step, this step on the path line and this stage, be still with it. Basically, we have Isa, which is the rune of ice. This is the stillness through which clarity comes. So sit with it. Don't just keep rushing forward and not acknowledge it. Don't take it for granted. This is something that you've wanted for a long time. So definitely give yourself the time to savor it and to enjoy it. What isn't going to help is we have Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. You may worry about, you may, like, it's almost like you feel like, yeah, I have this energy now, but it's going to go, and I will be weak again, and it won't be fun. It's like, this is not the time to think about that. This is the time to enjoy the energy that you have. So be still with it. Don't worry about it. Like, let yourself sit with it. You know, nothing is permanent. So yes, obviously you're going to have these waves where you are going to feel energized and strong, and these waves where you're going to feel less, and you're going to need to take that rest and replenish. And it's coming. One of them is coming as well, like almost right after this point, and it's important to do that. You can't constantly inhale. We have to exhale sometimes. So you're going to have this wonderful thing you're going to be expressing and manifesting, and you've got lots of energy to do it. Sit with this energy when you have have it, make sure that you are getting all the clarity you need from it, so that when we do hit that yin stage, where you're actually going to be, I mean, what's the yin stage for? You're integrating. You're not just putting out. You're inhaling as well, or you can't always exhale. You have to inhale. You can't always inhale. You have to exhale. One of those things. So we have, as the end of this particular spread, Avaz, which is the horse. This has to do with movement and also spirit. It is reversed on the path line. So you're going to be driving forward up until this point, then give yourself, and you already will have stopped once you get that full energy. And the energy you're going to be using things to express and all of that. It's assumed based on this. But then let yourself rest. When you rest, you'll be able to integrate. The movement and spirit will be going inward. So you'll be sort of filing within and integrating what you've accumulated and accomplished, but also giving yourself that moment of rest where you're not galloping forward. You're letting yourself inhale if this has all been exhaling. So it's very good. And then, like, rinse and repeat. You're basically going to continue manifesting and connecting with that flow. But the flow is waves, and the waves are waves, and the waves are going to be yin and yang. So you got to make sure you allow for that, because otherwise you won't have the energy to carry on perpetually. So there you go. So that is your reading about finding your flow. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 3, people. So let's turn this card and see how we can connect with the flow. Look at this. We couldn't have asked for a better card. Ace of Cups. So you are going to be turning to your emotions, your intuition, your heart, creativity. This is what's going to just almost instantly tap you into your flow. This is like perpetual flow. So this is where the flow lives. This couldn't be more where the flow lives. This is absolutely where the flow lives. So just look to your heart, look to your emotions, look to your intuition, look to your creativity, because this is where your flow is. And you'll be like, how did I ever forget? It's like, well, life happens. It's just the thing. We come here and there's just so much stuff going on, and we get distracted, and everything is telling us it's important, and everything is important, but we have to discern what of it is important to us, even though everything is important to somebody. I'm laying down the whole reading, and then I'm just going to read it. Ooh, okay. Your central issue, card number 2, people, is Willow, which is the rune of the sun. This has to do with source energy. So again, the whole focus is connecting with your source energy, and in this case, the flow, which in your case with this card has to do with emotion, intuition, and heart, as well as creativity. Make sure that you're tapping into that. Leading up to this, maybe you have had, okay, I'm going to read this a couple ways, because there's a couple ways this needs to be read. 1, Pertho reversed. This is the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. Reversed on the path line, especially in the leading up spot, it could mean that you have learned something about yourself that you didn't realize before, but that was always the case. You've just made this realization. You're like, wait a minute, I really am such and such of this. This is who I actually am. Here I had thought I wasn't, but all the signs were there, and here I am, and this is me. And now I know this about myself. And so you're in a situation where you're integrating this new idea of who you are, which was always the case, but that you hadn't actually recognized. The other thing this could mean is you may have had a very unpleasant surprise recently. There may have been something and it was something that had been building up for a long time, and you hadn't realized, and it had always been the case, like it had been the case for a long, long time, and suddenly it comes into your field of vision, and you're like, oh, ew, this is the thing that was going on, and I didn't realize it, and it's a very unpleasant surprise to me, but it's been going on for a while, so now I need to connect with my source energy, because that's going to help me. So it's going to help you when you tap into these things that have to do with emotion, intuition, heart, and creativity. The best thing you can do is just sit with it. You can walk, but just to give it some presence. We have Isa, which is the rune of ice. This has to do with standstill, but it's the stillness through which clarity comes. So you want to Like, don't just tap into it and run. Tap into it and then acknowledge it and take it in and allow the clarity to come in with it. Give it the space that it needs in your life to actually acknowledge it and appreciate it. What isn't going to help is exactly that. Like, just don't minimize your focus on it. We have Kaunas, which is the rune of the torch or the fire. This has to do with something that starts small like an ember and goes into a blaze. When it's reversed, it's focus. But it also can be a limiting, like a diminishment of focus. So, especially in the lower line. So it's like you're worried about focusing on it for whatever reason. Maybe you're busy. Maybe you have a lot of people that you feel that you don't want to disappoint. But you need to not disappoint you the most. So we need to allow for this energy, because only you can tap into this. That's yours. And let this really sink in and saturate and let the flow. So you may be worried about giving your focus to this. You may be worried about that your options are going to limit because you're only focusing on this right now. And you may also, this may also be saying, don't shut yourself off from this. Like, don't close your eyes to this. This is very important. You need to give it the focus that it deserves and that you deserve. So, once you see it, don't say, okay, there, I've seen it. I'm going to move on and do these 100 other things that don't help me, like that don't nourish me. Definitely give yourself the time with it that you need in order to really feel that flow, to let that flow saturate you and nourish you. Your next step on the path line is we have Yira, which is the rune of the harvest, and also time. Once you connect with this, suddenly you will be in a world of abundance. You're going to feel like everything is nourishing, everything is abundant. You're just not wanting for anything. You are going to be very aware that this is a season, that this is going to be the time that this is happening, that it's not always going to be like that. It's like weather or seasons, and this is the time that you're going to take advantage of it, but this is the time that you're going to appreciate it. So this is the time that it is. It's like, like you look at something like cherry blossom season. It's only there for a few days, so you want to just not miss it. Like, if you just sort of look out the window one day and say, oh, cherry blossom season, and then go on with things that have nothing to add to you, then you will have missed it. So get out there, look at the cherry blossoms, stand under them, like take the time while it's happening. And so that's basically what it's going to be. Like, once you connect with the source energy, get into it, like let it saturate you, take the time with it while it's here. What is going to help you with that is just tune out the din. There's so much din, even if it's not actively like living humans directly talking to you. It could just be like recorded humans, or it could be YouTube videos. Heaven forfend, she says from a YouTube video. But it could be like just things that are out there, TV shows, even even the respectable things like books, and not that internet isn't respectable, but you know what I'm talking about. But it's like the things that are going to distract you and take you away from appreciating this moment where you're connecting with your source energy and the flow. So tune that din out. It could be people, it could be non-people, it could be just the din of the world. But let that be tuned out, because right now you are living in the present moment. You want to focus on the present moment when all this energy and flow and abundance is. And that's going to help you the most to appreciate, to take it in, and to be nourished by it. What isn't going to help is we have Uruz reversed. Uruz is the rune of the wild ox. This has to do with strength and health and stubbornness. In the lower line, it is reversed. So it's saying, first of all, this is, if you're ever going to dig in the moment, this is a moment to dig into. Like, dig in your hooves, and if you have to, force yourself to take it in. Don't just let yourself be tumbled along by the din of humanity and the din of the world, because that's not going to help you. Also, you may be worried that if you stop to do this, and if you tune out the din to do this, that you'll be seen as weak. You are probably the opposite of weak by doing this, because otherwise you're just getting tumbled along like everybody else. And maybe that's been sort of, people are telling themselves that's a sign of strength, but it kind of isn't, because you're not letting yourself get the strength and energy that you need. So that's not going to help you. Let yourself stay in this moment while it's here. in the present moment, tune out the din of humanity, and just let the flow and the energy saturate you and nourish you and nurture you and be abundant around you, because this is not always going to be the case, and this is where you fill up on it. It's like if you live in an area where we have 4 seasons, you know, if you really, really love the sunshine and things, get out there in the sun and get all saturated with it while you can, because there's not always going to be that. You know, things move, things change. There are seasons. There are seasons even when there aren't seasons, if you know what I mean. Like, the places that don't have the 4 seasons still have seasons. So your next step on the path line is, now that you've been energized, hit the ground running. You have Avaz, which is the horse. This has to do with movement and spirit. Let your spirit carry you, but keep moving forward. You will have been energized. You will have been nourished. You will be just full of energy and moving with the flow. Let the flow move you. What is going to help you is make sure that you're staying on top of taking care of your needs, just your basic needs. You know, don't neglect your basic needs. We have Nauthiz, which is the rune of needs. So it's not reversed. It's not an emergency, but make sure that you're taking care of the things that can keep you on your feet while you are galloping forward with all of this energy and in the flow and in the source energy that you have. What isn't going to help you is, we have Hagalaz, which is the rune of the hailstorm. This has to do with chaos and things that are out of your control and weather and nature. So what this is basically, I actually want to get a top and bottom on this one rune, because I just want to clarify it a little bit better. Yeah, so hands-on, taking care of things that need to be taken care of, tending to your needs and responsibilities. Well, tending to your needs. We have Ingvaz, which is the rune of Ing, which has to do with active creation. So this is basically you're very on top of things. Stay on top of things, and you'll be able to have all the energy maintained while you move forward. Take care of the things that need to be taken care of. What isn't going to help is if you just let things be wild and random. Not that that's a bad thing, really, but if you just sort of succumb to the chaos out there, and this is once again like connecting with this thing that you tuned away from. If you let the chaos at you and you don't give yourself time to tend your needs, then you're going to feel your life is less rich. You're going to all of this richness that you've gained is going to drain away, and you're not going to feel as worthy of it either. So try not to let all the crazy in, like all the wildness and chaos of the world that you've tuned out so that you could access this. Try not to let that seep in and start dragging things down. Bring yourself back up to making sure that you are staying on top of your needs, staying on top of taking care of what needs to be taken care of to keep you healthy and happy and sane, so that you can continue forward with your spirit carrying you and be focused on this flow that you finally tapped into. And what this is going to lead you to is basically the open world before you. We have the blank rune, which is the rune of just basically, I mean, whatever the divine is for you, that's in there. But just basically, it's a blank page in front of you. It's open. You have the tools now. You have this connection to this flow, and now you're comfortable enough to let it flow you where it will. So that's exciting. So there you go. Card number 3, people. There is your reading about finding the flow. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye. Hello, card number 4, people. So let's turn this card and see where you're going to look to find your flow. 2 of Cups. So this is not necessarily you and another person with your chemistry. It might be. So for some of you, there may be somebody that you're going to start connecting with and bouncing ideas off of. It's not necessarily a lover. It's just somebody who sort of brings a yin to your yang. Somebody who balances your energies in a way that you can really create something exciting and that both of your flows can be enhanced. So it's this kind of connection that we're looking for. It may not be another person. It could be another aspect of self that you had not been connecting with, and that once you connect with this, then the energy is going to start to spiral in a good way, and you're going to add what was missing to your energy. And then you can move forward with this exciting chemistry and the flow moving forward because you're more balanced. So let's get some runes down. I'm going to put down the entire reading first. It's our central issue. Ooh, Yes, yes. So this rune actually says it is likely that this is an aspect of yourself that you've just found, that you're going to find out about, that you're going to incorporate. Because it's Pertho, which is the rune of the lot box. This has to do with surprises and fate. The surprises that it has to do with are the surprises that are things that were always there. Whatever's in the lot box was already in the lot box. You just didn't realize. When it's reversed, especially on the path line, this has to do with surprises about yourself, something revealed about yourself that you didn't know, but that you realized was always there. So given this and given this card, yes, there may also be a connection with another person for some of you. However, I'm really seeing in a lot of ways, you're finding something out about yourself. And now that you're integrating that part about yourself with who you are, with who you think of about who you are finding that you're more balanced, that you're more complete, that you are able to, that you sort of have a balancing of energies that you didn't have before. And this is what's going to help the flow. This is your connection. This is you finding your flow again. Leading up to this, yes, you were probably very yang leading up until this point, until you realized this really glorious yin aspect to yourself that has joined your yang. And now you are flowing very, very nicely. This is Ingvaz, it's Ing's rune. This has to do with active creation. So, and look at this. Lookity. Look at how these match. How nice. So you were coming up on this, but then you sort of felt things weren't flowing forward, and it's because you weren't fully balanced. And now that you've realized this about yourself, this thing that has been revealed about yourself that was always the case, you are able to integrate that, and it's become more balanced, more whole, and more true. What is going to help you with that is we have Algiz, which is the rune of the elk, otherwise known as the moose. This has to do with protection and support, and it's not reversed, so it's outer. It's like basically, whether it's systems or people, you are feeling very supported in the world, and that's going to help you integrate this aspect of self that you didn't realize was there but was always there. What isn't going to help is you may be tempted to just like give up and not go down this road. You may go, ugh, that's not quite me. I'm used to being all go, 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 yang, yang, yang. But that's not going to help you. You're not going to get that flow going until you integrate this. So when you do integrate this and you're focusing on let's integrate that, you're going to feel very supported, and that's going to help you. Because I think the people who care about you are going to notice. It's like, hey, you know what? I'm noticing you're a lot calmer, more balanced. There's a slight softening to you, but not in a bad way. Like you are actually looking more in focus than you were before. You're not as hard and let's make things happen. You are sort of, there's an allowing as well. It's not just output, there's input as well, where you're allowing things in that you're incorporating in what you're putting out. What your next step on the path line is we have Evaz, which is the horse. This has to do with movement and also spirit. This is also a tandem kind of thing because it's movement, but you are being carried by spirit, whatever spirit is for you. So this is sort of like that. This is you integrating this more yin element of yourself that you hadn't realized was there before, and now you have, and now you're working together, horse and rider, not in a oppressive way, but in a symbiotic way, in a tandem kind of harmonic way. And you're moving forward and letting your spirit carry you. You're even letting this side of it carry you more than you were before. You're sort of letting that carry you forward, and you keep moving forward with it, which is another thing. It's like you're not giving up on this, you're moving forward. What is going to help you? We have Ansuz, which is the rune of communication and manifestations. So you are both keeping open with your communications. Maybe this is with your support around you, but maybe this is also just you are manifesting as you do this. You are bringing things into the world while you're doing this, which is helping you continue to do this because it's awesome. What isn't going to help is this is once again not the time to stop the flow. All of this is new ground for you. It's slightly out of your comfort zone because it's so much more than you were working with before. So there's still going to be the temptation. Here was the temptation in the first step where you just felt like I'm out and just like wanting to like turn away and just continue the way you were, to not do this journey. Under the second line here, we have Laguz reversed, which is the rune of the It's the flow. So the whole thing is about finding your flow. I'm going to read this reversal a couple ways in that case. So first of all, you may be worried about the flow. Maybe that wasn't what had stopped the flow before, and you're sort of worried about the flow stopping again, even though the flow is flowing now. But also, it's like you may feel like it may be worth it to stop it because this is so much and you feel like maybe you can't handle it. You can totally handle it. Look at you in tandem with this. Look at you moving forward harmonically. You have to just keep the communication open and keep bringing things through, because that's what it's all about. Your next step on the path line, we have Fehu. Fehu's the rune of wealth and worth. It's literally cattle. This is, in the Elder Futhark, it's cattle. And the cattle is the wealth that you tend. It's not just money. It's whatever it is in your life that when you take care of it and you're making sure that it has everything it needs, it is going to bring richness to your life. It is going to bring worth and wealth to your life. Again, not necessarily money, but definitely sense of worth and richness. What is going to help you with that is we have Berkana reversed. So Berkana is the rune of the birch tree. This has to do with beginnings and birth. Reversed on the upper line, it's sort of like an inner rebirthing. Like you've started to integrate this, but now you're really looking inward and saying, okay, we're sort of going to go back like retroactively with this and sort of try to weave it into who we are from the beginning, because it always was there, but we weren't including it. Just sort of to bring ourselves back up to where we are, but having included that. It's like a little bit of time travel play, but it's also just, you're also going in and incubating and rebirthing yourself using this, which you're doing now. And it's very exciting. So you're actually, like once you've finished this step, it's going to feel so good that you're going to be like, okay, we're definitely going to keep this. This is a keeper thing. And so we're going to incorporate this as we unfurl and as we rebirth ourselves. It's not going to be a hugely outward thing to begin with. It's going to be something you're going to go deep and start with like a little seed of it. And you're going to say, okay, we're going to start really integrating this. What isn't going to help is we have Willow, which is the rune of the sun. This is the rune of source energy. You are a little bit worried about energy levels. You're worried because it's so much. It's like it's so big compared to what you were working with before. So there's this sense of, I don't know if I can handle it. I don't know if I have the energy levels to handle it. This is going to give you the energy levels. And the more you integrate this, the more energy you're going to have. So this is sort of as much a worry, just a worry, as these two were. Of course, these were also warnings, like don't stop this flow. And also don't burn yourself out as well, I suppose, would be another read on this. But mostly I'm seeing that as a worry about energy levels. Your outcome on this read is Uruz, which is the rune of the wild ox, which means you are going to be, once you are integrated with this, which you will be by this point very much, you're going to be solid, you're going to be strong, you're going to be healthy, you're going to feel a lot healthier. Like whatever your physical health is, you're going to feel healthier in general. It's going to be a much stronger, more solid way for you to move forward in the world. I'm actually going to throw down in the middle a little bit of extra. Yeah, so coming back to this middle thing where you're moving forward, letting spirit carry you, and you're in the process of integrating. What isn't helping you is this whole worry about, oh, well, the flow stopped before. Maybe this wasn't what made it go again. We want to basically, we're worried that it's going to stop again and I won't be able to do anything about it. What's behind that? And also the idea that it's like, you don't feel like it's worth it. I don't feel like having the flow happen is worth it. It's too weird for me. This is bringing you back to agreements and decisions and plans and goals that you had before you did this, which no longer actually apply once you've included this, because what you're working on now is so much better and so much more rich and so much stronger. So you definitely, this will totally drag you down. This will set you back. What will help is, once again, communication and manifestation. You are bringing things through as you're letting your spirit carry you forward, as you're moving forward. You're bringing things through and you have communication open. And what this is going to lead you to is the opposite of this. This is where things are stagnating and not bringing anything forward and the flow isn't working. What this is going to do for you, if you are doing this, focusing on communication and manifestation, it's going to give you such a feeling of abundance, like such a feeling of like anything I need, I can basically manifest, and it's going to feel so good and so abundant, and you're going to feel like you're in a big abundant season of time. You're going to feel like you're right in the present moment, and you're going to feel like now is the most abundant time in my life. This is crooked. And and it's going to feel really, really good. So that's going to help you the most. And ultimately, as I said, this is going to lead you to where you're going to feel stronger than you ever have before, more integrated, more solid, more grounded, in a good way grounded, and really healthier, whether this is physical health or just mental health, spiritual health. It's going to feel a lot better and stronger by the end of this. So there you go. Card number 4, people, about finding your flow. I wish you all the best with this, and I wish you a lovely day or evening. Take care till next time. Bye.